All right. So we've laid out a lot of expectations of behavior, and I know it's never fun to go through a process and hear all the rules, but we do need to talk about what's going to happen if you're not meeting these behavioral expectations. So what we've done is we've put our behaviors into different tiers, three different tiers. Tier one behaviors are behaviors that are going to require attention from a teacher, but pretty much remain in the classroom. You're not going to have a conversation with me about a tier one behavior. It's going to be addressed by the teacher. So this might be where you're just simply not complying or not agreeing with basic classroom rules or procedures. You might refuse to respond to a school staff directive. You might cause a distraction in a Google Meet or in a classroom, or you might argue with a staff member. What could be some of those consequences? A teacher could lead you through a reflection process or some type of explicit instruction on how to improve that behavior. They could also facilitate a structured apology if based off of who you might have, you might need to apologize to. Might be a peer, might be another might be another adult in the room, but that's again going to be teacher facilitated. You might also have a family notification of that behavior. But that's the simple stuff that, those are those learning experiences that we go through that we just might have to have a teacher redirect our behavior. Meanwhile, tier two, these are behaviors that have become a persistent problem, and a teacher who is trying to respond and give you that feedback and try to give you that help to improve, but it just simply hasn't changed the behavior. Those things continue to persist. So what does that look like? So again, those repeated behaviors of distracting a class, or are repeated evidence of arguing with a teacher. Then tier two gets when it's persistent. You're persistently being confrontational, refusing to do anything that they asked, or doing things that go against exactly what they are asking you to do. It can also be verbal or digital aggression towards school personnel or peers. So this could be over a Google Meet, it could be in a Google Chat, could be on over an email, or any other the type of technology, educational technology that we use. Another example could be that unsafe behavior in the classroom. So it's not following those 6 feet of separations, taking masks off when you don't have permission, or repeated disengagement from class, refusing to do work, refusing to not be a part of the learning environment. So what could happen for those types of things? It could lead to an in-person or distance meeting with myself or Miss Madi, the support team. So it could be a few of your teachers, could be all your teachers, and family members. It could also lead to an opportunity to restore, repair harm. We want to give you the possibility to make things right. And so we could talk about what that might look like. How if you've wronged another person, how can you help restore your relationship as well as your community? You might have an individualized support plan, things where you have some goal setting to try to help you make sure that you're getting on the right track and being successful and being the best version of yourself that you can be. The other part of this is these types of behaviors, these persistent behaviors, verbal aggression and things of that nature, it could lead to a possible suspension. So that's always important to be aware that that a tier two behavior might lead to some type of consequence, including a suspension. Meanwhile, tier three, the seriousness is increasing. These are behaviors that continue to persist after multiple tier two interventions, and the student is becoming increasingly hostile or unsafe to staff or peers. And so that's our number one goal, is to always ensure the safety. And so what might some of those behaviors? That's persistent verbal aggression. Someone who's is consistently aggressive in their words and threatening in their words. It could be bullying and or cyberbullying, discrimination, harassment based off of people of protected classes, and could also be possession of drugs and or illicit materials, such as a vape, and possession of weapons, total refusal to participate in an academic setting, and refusal to wear a mask. I think you are putting other people at risk when you're refusing to wear a mask. We're here to support. We know it's a challenge to get used to that, to wear the mask. I think we've all gone through that, but we need to understand that when we're choosing not to wear a mask, we are putting other people at risk. So the possible consequences for that, again, could be different educational programs that are an alternative to a suspension, but it also could lead to suspension. All right, and that's going to be the last video you see. So don't forget to submit the Google form and also return to the original Google Meet with myself and Miss Madi.